are back again at the Gauteng Investment Conference, and we are joined by Madam Zen Dlamini, who's going to be talking to us about infrastructure. Madam Dlamini, thank you for joining us on BRICS Africa channel.
Thank you.
How is the investment conference going for you today?
Thank you very much for having me and to the viewers. This is great. We appreciate the fact that it follows after the SA investment conference that happened last week. And we are a key player here. We are one of the platinum sponsors, quite instrumental in making sure that we deliver this economy. Met with some of our colleagues or the stakeholders. AFDB met with Afrixim, Infrastructure South Africa, and some of the clients. And there is a big buzz, it shows like the appetite that we've got from external and the interest that we are seeing in South Africa.
Can you take us through, maybe summarize the input you had on the panel on stage?
Yeah. So in the panel, we were really talking about the hurdles that we are seeing and some of the challenges that we are seeing on the infrastructure side, specifically the municipalities. You'll realize that municipalities are actually picking up the conversations, the dialogue, everything is all around municipalities and some of the challenges that we are seeing on the municipalities side. As I said on the panel, sometimes as a country, we wait for things to get to the edge of the cliff before we start focusing on what needs to be done or the solutions. We've seen this happen with Eskom, we've seen it happen with Transnet. Municipalities have been on a downward spiral for quite a while now, but the focus is only coming now and it's becoming heightened now. We are excited that, yes, there is focus. We can see the enthusiasm because municipalities are quite systemic to the economies. Think about the city of Johannesburg not functioning, so it's all about capacitating. And it should not all be about funding. It should be about how do we support. There's governance issues. There's also like the technicalities. Do we have the right people? And how do we support? And then also think about what private sector is doing to support the municipalities. So we're working together with some of the corporates that are quite interested there. And then you've got some infrastructure managers that are quite keen in supporting the municipalities. Take eThekwini, for instance, and some work that has already been done with City of Tshwane and the work that is currently underway with COJ. And I know I'm just talking metros, but it cuts across even the district ones and the smaller municipalities. And then we also spoke about pools of capital. South Africa is sitting at a very unique position if you choose, with the wars that we're seeing, the geopolitics, simply because of our exposure to all these markets. We're quite close to the US, we're quite close to the Asian markets, the Eurozone, and now we started some work in the GCC. I personally run an annual conference in the UAE where we go with government to try and make sure that we raise enough capital. We deal with sovereign wealth funds and the big five, we call them the oil five. They're responsible for over 10 trillion US dollars. And I'm saying 10 trillion US dollars. So if there is that appetite in Africa and South Africa specifically, it means that we actually don't have an issue with capital. We must find a way of accessing the capital. We must find a way of making sure that we do realize that capital.
Normally, what are the bottlenecks for people not to access such funds?
So at that level, it's the regulatory framework. And if you think about a transaction that was recently concluded with Transnet, because of the PFMA and some of the prescripts from the PFMA, it became a hurdle for the investor. We've got like your private sector that is coming in to run the container terminal Pier 2 in Durban, and some of the challenges that they experienced were really on the regulatory space. And I find in my discussions as we speak to the GCC, because they're quite quick. We're in Abu Dhabi. We had some investors from Abu Dhabi who were ready coming in with proposals. And when you look at the yield, what they are asking for, it's an arm and a leg. They're looking for rich returns, and we have to be realistic about that. And I indicated to them that we need to be practical and make sure that this is something that is achievable. So there has to be alignment on what they expect and what we can give.
And the Premier was promising that his vision will really try and iron out these bottlenecks.
Yeah.
You are looking at, when I look at Gauteng, everyone seems to be busy, but no one is moving on the highway. And I ask myself, how does the economy move faster? What kind of a pipeline plans you have, especially around the intermodal infrastructure projects?
No, very exciting. I think about the Gautrain, and I think about the players. Gautrain now goes from Pretoria, Joburg, but the expansion of the Gautrain and the possibilities are quite massive. And some of the entities or the investors, they're talking about the reach. We want to see Gautrain go to the township, for instance, so that it's not labeled Lani. It is labeled intermodal, like you carry passengers. So yes, excited about that. I'm also excited about the work that is being done by Minister Chrissy with PRASA, making sure that PRASA is not just providing the commuters that go to PRASA are not just the people from the townships, but everyone actually uses PRASA, the trains, because of the rolling stock. I don't know if you've seen the new trains. They look gorgeous.
I've seen the new trains,
Yes.
but I was wondering, when you're touching on PRASA, are you partnering with them? Because I see they've got a program on recreating housing and student accommodation within their old, repurposing their infrastructure.
Yes, there is work that we do on their property portfolio. We work with PRASA across their various segments.
Okay.
So there is like the property portfolio, but also we're working with Lesham, Brian and the team on some of the projects that they've brought forward. Some of them are still confidential, so we cannot share that.
Sure.
But we're working quite very closely with them. Just watch the space.
One thing I always wondered is that when you travel through the airports, you have a beautiful experience. If you have so much money from the UAE, why can't you not transform the taxi ranks to be a similar experience when people are traveling every day?
Oh, so this is work that is being done when you talk about intermodal, like the transportation piece itself. We are having those conversations but with the department, because if you think about it, and I'll use the Gautrain, there are those buses that actually take commuters when you get off at Rosebank or Sandton, but they'll be working together with taxis. So to say that it's not just the gold buses that will be moving commuters around, but also you use like the taxis that will move everyone around, so that there is that collaboration. So there is work that is currently underway. I mean, not all the stations, you've got park station, not all the train stations at that level.
Sure.
So it's work that needs to be done end to end. So we're saying, how do we get to a point where our transportation system mirrors what you see like in Europe? Do we have monorails? When you get off the train, then you can use a taxi. But it's like end to end. It's not just the taxi operators that are standing alone, or government that's just standing alone. So it's working together.
Are you promising me a new speed train from here to Limpopo?
My goodness. I was in Tokyo, I took a speed train, and I came back. I was talking to Mwaku, the TDG at DOT, and I told him, I said, we need this experience, you know. We are looking at that. Like the Premier said, we are looking at that. And we also want to do Cape to Cairo.
It's been a slogan. I wish we can practicalize things as the Premier said. No
start
more
first.
vision,
We
more
start
action.
small.
We start
Yeah,
small.
We start small, but there are a lot of players, role players that are keen, that would like to come into this space. I like the fact that it's not just government, but there's also big corporates that are seeing this and that are very excited about this, that are looking at solutions, and they've actually given some proposals as well. You heard Michelle from Trustnet saying, oh, I receive proposals every second day. So yeah, Gauteng, something similar to Gauteng, and something that will work for us as a country.
Mama Dlamini, thank you for joining us on BRICS
Enkos.
Africa channel.
Enkos, thank you so much.